Before the age of billion-dollar superhero movies, and before cinematic universes and multiverses and whatever universe we're in now, before the Avengers, there was an Avenger. A Toxic Avenger. This is a man that fell into toxic waste and changed cinema forever. Not through high-tech armor or mutant genes, but through pure radioactive strength and a mop. That's right. We're talking about the Toxic Avenger, the superhero who mopped up crime and corruption and changed the very definition of taste. Or bad taste. My aim, by the end of this video, is to convince you that the Toxic Avenger is a work of extreme cultural significance. Let's get into it. To understand the Toxic Avenger, you need to understand the studio responsible, Troma Entertainment, the movie studio equivalent of duct tape holding chaos together. Founded by Lloyd Kaufman and Michael Hertz in the 1970s.
I enjoy getting up in the morning and pissing people off a bit.
You do a great job, I have to tell you.
Troma specialised in movies that looked like they were filmed on expired film stock and edited on a dare. While Hollywood was polishing blockbusters, Troma were asking the big questions. Like, why aren't there any superheroes from New Jersey? To answer this question, they were to make a movie so gross that people regret watching it, but can't stop talking about it. And thus, in 1984, the Toxic Avenger was born.
The Toxic Avenger.
A low-budget explosion of gore, satire, and slapstick. It's an embodiment of the punk rock DIY ethos applied to the art of filmmaking. And maybe this shouldn't have worked. It really shouldn't. But it did. It created something bigger. Something that reflected the nuclear anxiety, the moral decay, and the absurd optimism of the 1980s. Wait, are you not subscribed? I don't know if you noticed, but the video rental business is not exactly booming. It would be real cool of you if you could help out and hit that subscribe button. Back to the video. Okay, let's cover the basics. For those who haven't watched the movie, here's what you need to know. Melvin Junko is a bullied janitor working in a New Jersey gym. He's thrown by bullies out of a window and lands in a vat of toxic waste. Mutates into a hideous monster and immediately starts beating up criminals. With a mop. That's it, that's the whole plot. Not exactly complicated. Somehow though, beneath all of the gore and the slapstick, there's something deeply human about it. The Toxic Avenger is the story of an underdog, a nobody who becomes somebody, even if that somebody looks like a science experiment that's gone wrong. Along the way, he even finds love.
Why, Melvin, you're beautiful. You're a beautiful person.
And the acceptance of his community.
It saved our lives. It was a hero.
But don't let that give you the impression this movie is going to give you the warm and fuzzies. This movie's a gore fest. Now, Troma didn't just put a little bit of gory violence in this movie. They put all of the gory violence in this movie. We're talking levels of gore, well, for its time, so extreme that they become an absurd level, almost parody. The whole thing is played for laughs. There's heads exploding, limbs flying, and yet it's all strangely joyful. While other movies of its era were using brutality to shock audiences, the Toxic Avenger was using it to get laughs. I previously described Troma as punk rock filmmaking, and the Toxic Avenger is an excellent example of this. It's messy, it's loud, it's self-aware, and it's completely unapologetic. Now, I'm not suggesting that Troma invented bad taste cinema, but they definitely turned it into a business model.
Founders, Lloyd Kaufman and Michael Hertz, are Yale graduates who discovered a simple formula for successful movie making.
Action, sex, violence, comedy, horror, That has something to do with it.
And due to the success of the Toxic Avenger, Troma then had the financial freedom to go and produce more films, like Terra Firma, The Class of Nukem High, and Troma's War. And Troma is still going today, having recently announced their latest movie, a sequel to my favourite Poultrygeist, The Night of the Chicken Dead. The new one's equally brilliantly titled Poultrygeist 2, Dawn of the Chicken Dead. And Troma didn't just produce their own movies. They also distributed other independent films, allowing new creators a foothold into the industry. And because this was achieved with the success of the Toxic Avenger, Troma Entertainment is often affectionately known as the house that Toxie built. What most people don't realise is that Troma Entertainment was basically a training ground for future Hollywood. For example, did you know that James Gunn's career started at Troma Entertainment? Before Guardians of the Galaxy, or even before he had full control of the DC universe, James Gunn actually wrote and acted in Romeo and Juliet, which, yes, is a Troma rendition of Romeo and Juliet. Of course, anyone in showbiz will tell you that Shakespeare to Space Raccoons is the obvious natural progression of one's craft. James Gunn even co-wrote the book, All I Need to Know About Filmmaking, I Learned from the Toxic Avenger, with Troma founder Lloyd Kaufman. Sure, having one person with a background in Troma Entertainment making it to the big time could be dismissed as a fluke. However, this isn't the case. Trey Parker and Matt Stone's debut feature, Cannibal the Musical, was released through Troma Entertainment.
I want a thing about it now. Yeah.
These lovable scamps went on to make classics such as Basketball and Orgasmo. Oh, also South Park. Literally one of the most popular and successful animated series of all time. And it's not just writers and directors who made early appearances in the Troma back catalogue. Kevin Costner's early work, Sizzle Beach USA, which is also known as Malibu Hot Summer, was distributed by Troma Entertainment. Did you know that he reportedly tried to buy the rights to it so no one would see his awkward sex scene? Another actor of note, Vincent D'Onofrio. He appeared in Troma Entertainment's sexy comedy, The First Turn On. I love that guy. He acts so good that I can't even recognise him in his films. He basically becomes a new person in every movie that he's in. My brain just can't seem to process that Kingpin in Daredevil and Edgar the Bug in Men in Black are the same person. What's really cool is that Troma has been around long enough now that it can see the seeds that it planted in the 80s, fully grown, blossoming, bearing fruit. That's the thing. Low budget horror and independent cinema in general is really important for giving these creators that first step, their footing into the industry, and it has an important place in the general ecosystem of the entire film industry. So here's where it gets weird. Troma didn't just change the landscape of horror. They helped change the world's perception of anime by bringing Studio Ghibli features to America. In the 1980s, through Troma Team Video, Lloyd Kaufman distributed early Ghibli classics like My Neighbor Totoro and Kiki's Delivery Service, way before Disney would even touch it. In true Troma fashion, they went against the grain by distributing family-friendly movies in a time where most anime that was available was rather edgy. These movies are now considered classics by many, and Totoro himself is the face of a recognisable brand the world over. Yep, the studio that gave us all those exploding heads, they also gave us Totoro. It's funny because somewhere out there's probably a family who went to the video store and rented copies of both Toxic Avenger and Totoro. What a marathon. I just loved that Troma Entertainment was putting out the most and the least wholesome content at the same time. Troma Entertainment has always been a studio of extremes, but mostly remembered for their extreme gore and not their extreme cuteness. Whether they meant it or not, Troma Entertainment are a contributing factor in the fact that anime is a mainstream success in the West. Okay, so we got a little bit sidetracked there, but that's the legacy of the studio. But what about the man himself? What was next for the Toxic Avenger? The Toxic Avenger didn't just stop with one movie. It spawned 3 sequels. It also had a musical stage production, comic books, and a video game. And somehow, a children's cartoon. which they rebranded as the Toxic Crusaders. The Toxic Crusaders ditched the ultra-violence of the Toxic Avenger and instead focused on fighting pollution. The cartoon spawned all kinds of merchandising, including action figures, and it had an awesome theme song.
Toxic Crusaders, Toxic Crusaders. I had no friends, no girls that hugged me till I got radioactive ugly. Toxic Crusaders, Toxic Crusaders.
While it seems crazy that they would turn an R-rated movie into a children's cartoon, in the scope of the toy aisle of the time, he wasn't out of place, standing shoulder to shoulder with other fellow mutant crime fighters like the Ninja Turtles. The franchise is still going strong to this day. Most recently, it's had a remake, featuring Peter Dinklage, stepping into the shoes of Toxie. In the end, the Toxic Avenger isn't just about fighting crime. He was radioactive, deformed, but somehow relatable. And when he dunked his mop into that bucket, it caused ripples which are still seen in the movie industry today. Not only did Toxie redefine the landscape of superhero cinema, let's face it, super violent superhero comedies, kind of a thing at the moment.
Oh, hello.
Buddy?
And that's why I think the Toxic Avenger is a masterpiece and an artwork of extreme cultural significance. So what are your thoughts? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments either way, I want to hear. Until next time, please do remember to like and subscribe. I'm Jay, this is Jay's VHS. Be kind and rewind.